TJ, the New York Jetropolitans, the Jets, right? Started the year 0-13. They come all the way cross country to play the Rams in that beautiful new stadium here in Los Angeles. And the Rams lose to the Jets. First of all, your reaction to how shocked you were that the Rams lost to the Jets.
That is very shocking. I didn't – honestly, when I looked at it, I said, I don't know how the Jets are going to get a playoff. Aaron Donald is going to wreck them. I really didn't see them being able to score more than 7 or 10 points. And the way the Rams had been playing offensively, I said, oh, man, you got to be really disciplined when you go against this Rams offense. You can't peek in the backfield. You got to read your keys and play disciplined football. And so I just assumed, like everyone else, like, oh, the Rams this is going to get ugly.
Because remember, the spread was 17.
17 points.
I took the 17 because I was like, the Rams will win, but the Jets might score some meaningless touchdown late. You know what I mean? TJ, to wreck a 17-point spread. So I didn't feel comfortable with even an NFL team. Wasn't that too many points or no?
It seems like now, but when you look at Baltimore beat Jacksonville.
I know, and they beat them 40 to what? 14? Was that what the
16,
score?
I believe it was.
40 to 16.
But if you look at these scores, sometimes it's like this is the NFL and these teams are getting blown out. But the Rams have shown that they're a high-powered offense. They were putting up points on everybody, and the Jets aren't a good team. But the players from the Jets were like, listen, I know y'all want to go 0-16 and draft Trevor Lawrence, but we are not trying to go 0-16. We don't care about Trevor Lawrence. And that could possibly change the face and direction of that organization. But I will say this. I'll be 100% transparent. Sam Darnold is a good quarterback. It's crazy how people give up on players so easily. The Jets have the worst team in the league. And
they got the worst coach in Adam Gase as well, who couldn't get anything out of a number of players. Tannehill couldn't play for him.
Look at their skill guys. Can you name their starting skill players? You can't do it. And so Darnold doesn't have the guys around him that you look at his draft class of quarterbacks. You look what Baker has. Then compare that to Darnold.
Baker has 2 big-time running backs to run the football.
And receivers and tight ends. Oh, and he has the best O-line in the game. And then you look at what Josh Allen has. Josh Allen has more than Baker. You look at what Lamar has. All these dudes have so much more surrounding them. Sam doesn't have that help. And so you can't really get a proper, true evaluation of Sam Darnold until he's playing with players that can give him help. And this is no shot at what he's playing with, but they're not starting on those teams that I just named.
I totally agree. I think that I remember Jared Goff, his first, when he was with Jeff Fisher. You remember
when they were the St. Louis Rams, yeah.
And he was awful. I thought he was a bust. The first year, I said, this dude is terrible. But let me say this to you, okay? The Jets yesterday became the first team in NFL history to be winless and beat a 9+ win team on the road, and just the third team all time to be 0-13 or worse and defeat a team with a winning record. So it doesn't happen. And because of the strength of schedule, here's the kicker, TJ, the tiebreaker. The Jaguars, who are tied with New York at 1-13, now slide into the top spot. The Jaguars still have to play the Bears, who are 7-7, and the Colts, who are 10-4. The Jets play the Browns, 10-4, and the Patriots 6-8. So, this still could change, you know what I mean? And the Jets could somehow still maybe get it back. But as a player, I know from a fan standpoint, it's like if you're going to be terrible, you might as well be terrible all the way and get a chance at a top pick, okay? And I know you, as a former player and players in general, you're playing for your job, your gig. You don't care about who's coming in next year and all that stuff. Am I right? Players want to win.
Yeah, you don't care about – you don't want to go for sure 0-16. You don't want to be a part of that. That's a side of history that you want no parts of. And so
and you know I covered the Lions when they were the first team to go 0-16. So I saw it up front. And you're right. It's not something you want to be a part of.
The players wanted to win. I guarantee when they got in that locker room, they got on that bus, and they got on that plane, you would have thought they won a playoff game. I guarantee it was that type of energy because you work so hard and then you just lose. It's deflating, man. It demoralizes you. And so to get that win, guarantee they got on that plane, and that's a long plane ride back home.
Yeah.
They felt like they won a playoff game. It was like that relief, like I can breathe, I can relax. You don't want to be that team. But if I'm Trevor Lawrence, do I pull a power? Like, do I want to go play in Jacksonville? Like, going to New York, although they're bad, you go to New York. Do you really want to go play in Jacksonville?
See,
and so he has a lot to think about.
I'm glad you brought that up because there was talk that, and there was one the former Jets general manager kind of, like rubbed the Jets' face in it, like he could do. It was Mike Tannenbaum who was saying, like, he has leverage. He doesn't have to go play for the Jets. It doesn't matter. And now I'm like, when you're the first overall pick, guess what? You're normally going to the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
So pick your. I mean, it ain't like if you don't go there, you're going to Green Bay or you're going, you know what I mean, to a good team. You're going to Kansas City because you won't get on the field. But my point is, if you had to pick, I think I would pick the Jets over Jacksonville any day, wouldn't you?
Oh, 100%. Just the media market, and you're playing in New York. Jacksonville is just they had that one good year when they should have beat the Patriots.
They should have beat them. They were up 20-10 in the fourth quarter. You hear me?
Yeah, and they've been downhill. But just from a overall getting a recognition, playing in a big market, you would by far prefer to play in New York than Jacksonville. And I guarantee as people are sitting down saying, let's hope Jacksonville wins another game, and the people in Jacksonville are saying we better not win another game, this is going to get very interesting because this can determine what type of career he has. You go to a team, an organization that's dysfunctional, I don't care how good you are. You're not going to change the fate of an organization if they're not aligned top to bottom. And I didn't think that was the case when I played. I'm like, I don't care what they do up top. We're good. We're going to win. And we didn't win.
Right.
And when you get done playing and you really examine things and how they went and how they were going, that's why. And so it's no secret the teams that win and organizations that win, they're all aligned.
And you have to feel like in Cincinnati, like, why didn't we win? Like, did you like after your career was over, did you go like, how in the world did we not win a playoff game? Y'all had good players. Y'all had good teams.
We had, in my opinion, we had a great team across the board. Our offensive line was fantastic. I mean, we were doing 7-step drops with no chip. And anybody that knows football, nobody does that today. But we were doing that.
Wow.
And you just look at certain things that occurred, at least I do, because I know what happened and I know what wasn't reported and what the team hid from the media.
Ooh, juicy. This is juicy stuff. You mean you didn't give it to the Cincinnati Enquirer where I used to work?
Nah, I don't do none of that. I'm not a saboteur. I'm not going to do it. But I know things that happened and occurred that never got out. And I don't know if other organizations were doing the same thing, but when you start to cover things up for guys, you enable them. And they're going to continue to do it, and it's going to get worse and worse. And then the other players that aren't at that level, when they get at that level, if that's in them, they're going to do it. So the cycle just kind of repeats itself. And so I have a hard time believing that the better organizations, they do these type of things. I just don't see it. And that's why certain teams and organizations, habitual losers, and others aren't.
I agree with you because I saw it firsthand in Detroit with the Lions. They had players there. TJ, you know that, right? They had players.
Yes.
And they couldn't win. They got one playoff win since 1957. How is that possible in the National Football League?
I mean, it's something like when I just look at the teams the players we had. Carson is a quarterback, me and Chad at receivers, Willie Anderson, Whitworth, Levi Jones, offensive line. I mean, we had a really good team. We ran running backs running for 1,500 yards a year, and we just couldn't win. And that's what Trevor Lawrence could possibly face when you go to an organization that's dysfunctional, and it will hurt his career, obviously. And so it's going to be very interesting these next 5 months how this plays out.
Yep. And all right, so we want to hear from you. Will the Jets regret winning yesterday and costing themselves a chance at drafting Trevor Lawrence?
Chad, we're going to take you first out in Cincinnati. You on the Odd Couple. What you got to say?
Hey, what's up, OG? What's up, TJ?
What up?
Hey, glad to have you on, OG, man. You got my man, TJ. We all looked up to him here in the city, so glad he's on with you. Hey, the Jets, man, my God. You know, guys like Frank Gore, they deserve to go out with the win. They don't deserve to go out 0-16. But
I can't believe Frank Gore's still playing. I'm dead serious.
Getting it done.
Hey, my thing real quick, I don't think that they understand the magnitude that Trevor Lawrence was going to bring to the table, and it's a double-edged sword. You want Frank Gore to go out with the win, but you don't want to lose generational talent like Trevor Lawrence. He roasted my Buckeyes last year with those QB powers, and he's an unstoppable force. He's going to be better than Josh Allen. So I like Trevor Lawrence.
No, I get that, but and thanks, Chad, for the call from the Natty. But TJ, you know this. The players playing now don't care about next year.
No, they're not worried about
just don't.
next year and who we're going to draft at all. You don't think about that. You want to win a game. And right. I'm telling you, that plane ride, they were on the back drinking, playing cards,
I know it,
doing everything. Yeah, you know how it goes. They were having fun. They were having fun. They got that win, and it was a relief. It was a relief for them.
No doubt. 877-99 on Fox if you want to chime in.
Thomas in Iowa, you're on the Odd Couple. What's going on?
Hey, I'm a big fan of the show. Thanks for having me on. It was good watching you back in the day, balling, TJ.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you, and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Hey, I just want to get this out real quick. I'm a big Jaguars fan in Iowa. I go out to Jacksonville every couple years to watch a game. Yeah, I want to say, too, man, like Trevor Lawrence being in Jacksonville is perfect. He's an Atlanta boy, Georgia. He went to school in South Carolina. The weather's perfect. They even have an owner who plays games in the UK, whether he can have more endorsements internationally.
No, that's not why. That's not why he plays in the UK. He plays in the UK because they can't sell any tickets down there. If they could play a game on Mars, they would. I mean, that's not a ringing endorsement of Jacksonville that they play. Am I right, TJ, that they play 2 games or 3 games away from home every year?
They don't get the support in Jacksonville that he would like, and so he figures, let's go play in London, expand our fan base, and see if we can get the support there that we're not getting at home.
Absolutely. Nobody, if you have a real fan base, you're not giving up home games. Am I right? Just
not at all. The Cowboys wouldn't do that. The Packers wouldn't do it. The teams that fans support, they're not going to do it.
They're not going to do that to their fans. And for them to do 2 and 3 games in Europe, what does that say? I think that they thought that Jacksonville was going to be the next Green Bay. You know what I mean? Like a small market, and they made a mistake on that. So, all right, now let's welcome in the Hall of Famer, Rod Woodson, on the Odd Couple. What's up, Rod? We got Rod?
What's up, fellas? What's up, my brothers from another mother?
What's happening?
Going on, Mr. Rod Woodson?
TJ, what's up, brother?
I'm good. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing good, man. You still got your ponytail? You still got that?
I'm holding on, bro. You know, us light-skinned dudes with the good hair, we got to keep it, man.
You got to keep No doubt. No
All
doubt
right,
that
man.
hair.
That sounds good, man. That sounds good, brother.
Hey, Rod, let's just get right off the top real quick. First, I should say Kevin Green passing at 58 years old. I mean, took everybody by surprise. Nobody knows what the cause. It hasn't been released, but just your thoughts on Kevin Green dying way too soon.
I mean, Kevin Green was a tremendous player. One of my brothers, shocked, heartbroken, disappointed that here a guy that's 58 years old, we lost him. Just so many great memories of him being with the Pittsburgh Steelers and how great he was. Just got to pray for his wife and his kids that they stay strong moving forward without Kevin.
Yeah, that's a tough day, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Rod, the Pro Bowl selections came out for quarterback, and Mr. Tom Brady is not there in the NFC, as I said he wouldn't. But anyway, what do you make of that? So it's Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Kyler Murray instead of a Tom Brady.
Well, I mean, I think Kyle, he's a different type of quarterback, but, they struggled at times talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. We all love Tom Brady's name, but, if you start talking about the best quarterbacks in the NFC, obviously Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFC. And then, Kyler Murray he's a difference maker, even though I think he struggled the last several weeks.
Right.
And Russell Wilson is just a baller. He's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
So, speaking of quarterbacks, we're just discussing the Trevor Lawrence saga. If you're in his corner, his representation, his family, how do you handle this?
Well, obviously.
Do you want to go to Jacksonville, right?
Well, I think every team can be changed and molded into some good players. Now, I really believe that it depends on who's going to be the general manager, where they're going to spend the money at. And that goes even for the New York Jets. You try to figure out, like, what's going to happen, who's going to be in place. But, obviously, you always want to, as a player, you want to go to a team that has a good system, a good culture, where you kind of blend in and you can kind of grow, right? But when you're the overall number one pick, you don't have a lot of choices. Either you're going to go there, or if somebody can trade for them, or you got to sit out a whole year and come back the following year to play in the National Football League, which I don't recall anybody doing that in my lifetime.
And you could still wind up going to that team or another bad team, right? I mean, really?
Well, you're going to go to a bad team.
Right.
That's why they're picking high.
Right. That's why they're picking high. You're going to go to a bad team. But, you can change that. You can be the culture that changed that. A top 10 pick, most of those teams aren't great teams. I mean, I was the number 10 pick Steelers, and we kind of, the culture was there. And then that draft in 87 kind of helped change the culture again. And then we start swaying in the positive over Chuck Noll's last 5 years. Right. And then when Bill Cowher came in, everything clicked. And we won the AFC Central 5 years in a row. So it can happen. So you just got, you never really know. You just got to understand who's going to be there, who's going to be the head coach, who's going to be a general manager. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a tremendous player. You just got to make sure, hopefully he goes to the right system.
Right. Our guest is Rod Woodson here on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio, the Hall of Famer. Speaking of the Steelers, your team have looked bad the last couple of games, lost the last two. They're playing the Bengals tonight. How do they need to kick TJ's former team's butt? Like what do the Steelers need to do tonight? Is it just win, period, or dominate them and get back to feeling good about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm looking at the game right now, and
it's a struggle.
Fumble, snap.
At the end, they got to get the win. But right now, they just seem like the last 3 weeks is just they're sleeping at the wheel, and it seems like they put it in cruise control, and kind of woke up where the car was kind of going off the road, and they're trying to bring it back on the road. So, I think they have the talent, obviously. they just got to make sure that they just pay attention to the small things. And every team can beat any team in the National Football League. We've seen that with the Jets beating the Rams, right? So any team can win. So they just got to make sure that they're on their keys, they're playing during their jobs first. And it's not even about blowing them out. It's about getting a win, getting back in the victory column.
Looking at the landscape of the league, I believe everybody's going to look at the Chiefs and say they're prohibited favorites to win it all again. Do you see any team out there that can present problems for them or derail what people assume will be a back-to-back championship for the Chiefs?
Well, I think there's two things. There's two teams in the AFC. If the Steelers, if the Steelers can play the way they played in the first half of the year, I think they can give Chiefs a run for their money. But also the Buffalo Bills, who can score against any defense in the National Football League.
I think they're real deal. I think
they are the real deal too. If they played against the Chiefs, I think they can at least point for point score with them. But it's hard. It's hard to play against Patrick Mahomes and those guys because they have three outstanding receivers. Your fourth receiver is Watkins, and we won't even talk about him.
Yeah.
How about the Ravens? I think, Rod, that they've turned it around. I mean, they blew out the Jaguars, which is at home yesterday, 40-14, which is what you want to do. Can they be a threat if they get it together?
Well, they got to get in. They're out. The Ravens are the outside looking in, so they need
the Dolphins to lose the game.
Need to win. Right, they need to win and hope that somebody loses.
If they get in, though, I'm saying with the way that they're playing the last couple of games, could they make noise?
Only if their defense comes back together, because their defense has not played well the last 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, they gave up a lot to the Browns in the previous game. I know they held the Jaguars to not much, but I think everybody does that.
Right. Hey, Rod, you probably don't remember telling me this. I remember, obviously, you've coached in the league. You're one of the best players to ever play in the league, and I never forget you telling me when you're coaching DBs, the defensive coordinator had the nerve to tell you what you're teaching the DBs doesn't work, and you actually played the game at a Hall of Fame level. And
that's what happens, though, man. That's when you're a coach. You got to look to the other guys. You got to look to your
I bring this up because of you see a lot of former players would like to coach, but you run into what you just said, like, God, I played the game at a high level. What I'm teaching him, I probably did myself at a really high level. And so is it why a lack of, one, former players coaching, because it's just hard to have someone that doesn't know the game like you know it, telling you what you're teaching is wrong?
Well, let me say this. The great coaches do allow their staff members to coach the way they're capable of coaching and to apply that knowledge that they understand each position to have. It's the coaches who get fired every couple years. Those are the ones that don't have the belief system in their assistants to do their jobs the way they should be doing their jobs.
No doubt about it. Hey, Rod, Merry Christmas to you and your family, and stay well, stay safe. We appreciate you. You know that, my man.
Appreciate you, Rod. Take care, brother.
Brothers. Take care, brothers.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll talk.